Hello everybody, thank you for joining us. Today we're going to do a quick sketch of Mr. Burns from The Simpsons. So we're doing a slightly an upper body pose, and so a shoulders up pose actually. So we'll just put in some slender shoulders like that. And the collar structure is right around here. So neck going upward. Let's first throw in an oval right about here. And we'll have him looking at us, but from that particular angle. So eyes, that is the brow. There will be nose, and the mouth is of course really low for this particular character, and the ear somewhere around here. So we will use another pencil here. So Montgomery Burns was created by the great Matt Groening for the Simpsons TV show, and he is a continued and very welcome presence in the show. So those are the eyes, very generic, and that brow itself, as explained by Groening in one of the sit downs, just separates him from the others, because it shows sort of a conniving and even a sort of a pensive, cruel expression. It automatically sets a tone for the character. So there's that wide mouth, and then there's just those jagged teeth. So he's the main antagonist in the series, the owner of the Springfield nuclear power plant, and of course he is Homer's boss, because Homer works there. There's the very low, very narrow lower lip, the neck, and then we come up and just put in an ear right there. This, and there's the receding hairline shown like that, and there's some freckles, I believe, and spots. So Mr. Burns' character on the Simpsons, he was actually, he has a very storied history. So from different things that we see, he was enlisted in the army. He was raised privileged, but by a heartless person, which is why he became like that. And he also had a tendency to torture people of different backgrounds. So he was ingeniously voiced by Christopher Collins during the 90s. Up till the 90s, during the first 2 or 3 seasons. But then Harry Shearer really took up the duties and matched that voice that we all know Mr. Burns for. So we'll just put in some pen work to make this a little more easier. Mr. Burns' history, as we mentioned, all of its questionable content. So he served in the army as well during World War II, so he's shown as really old and enduring, but he monitors, so he has like this aspect of everything about him is like negative, mostly. In some episodes, yes, he just displayed that little bit of reason, but also, of course, to serve his own ends. So where he, instance, he wanted a fitness regimen going for his plant work. So he has this entire like storied history where he is he's done like, of course he's lived that long, and he has so many different questionable things. So what we're just doing is just putting in some quick tones here, but casually with a color pencil, just to make this somewhat in line with the show, and we will try to see if we can put in a little extra tone there while we expound upon Mr. Burns' character. So he works, of course, closely with the very useful and loyal Smithers, who is his right-hand man in managing the plant, but also other aspects in his life. And there were some, I guess we won't touch upon the out-of-the-box aspects about Mr. Burns' exploits, but some of the other things, for instance, is what we say, the repulsiveness that he felt at somebody like Homer Simpson, and how he used them for his personal entertainment so that he could retain his job. Like one of those exploitative factors that are shown about the character, but it's not an acceptable way, but it's also a funny manner in which they depicted all these negative traits. For instance, once when the Simpsons family, actually, not even just Homer by himself, I think it was their family, went to Mr. Burns for some sort of aid, he ended up sicking his mongrels, his dogs, on them, and then he had a laugh while they fled for the doors. I believe perhaps it was not the whole family, perhaps it was just Bart Simpson, but that is the kind of person Mr. Burns is, who's been shown to take pleasure in the suffering of others. So, but in a funny and genius manner, but very realistic. It's very reflective of some human beings who are not adhered to by their acquaintances, but they also cannot help but bear their grievances and these negative traits, because they are in a power. These people are in a power of control. Like they're in power. They're in a position of control, and that is what Mr. Burns really channels. He also has like failed relationships, and one of those, I believe, was actually Marge's mother even. But so those were, I think, failed engagements or relationships. So either of those things. So just a little tint there to round this up, and we'll see if we can just throw in some tone for the gray. Here it's just gray. So of course all the we see on the show that all the coloring is just one dimensional, but it is really the character design, the setting, and the story composition that brings these people, these characters to life, and why they have endured for so long. So thank you for watching. We put out content every day. Please subscribe and keep in touch. Have yourself a wonderful day.